Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Row and Austin Underground. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Be sure to tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We got a lot to talk about, and we're going to just start, guys, with Sark, of course, meets with the media met with the media, I guess I should say, yesterday. And the first clip I'm going to play you is actually an injury update. And then, Bobby, I know you got a little more to add on to that. So let's start there.
On an injury note, obviously, Cedric got hurt first play of the game. Hamstring injury, significantly. We don't think it's overly significant, but he'll be out this week just from a precautionary standpoint to hopefully get him ready for SEC play. Obviously, Cole Hudson, Kobe Black went down in game. We'll monitor those guys throughout the week. We'll see they're questionable, and Xavier Filsaime did not play in the game with a shoulder. He'll be questionable this week as well. So just some things to touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, he mentioned Cole Hudson, Kobe Black, Xavier Filsaime. Also got to remember Alex January still out. And then Trey Wisner is out as of right now. I do believe we'll likely see some Trey Wisner this weekend. I think we'll see more of James Simon based on review of the videotape from what we're hearing right now from the game. I would add this on Cole Hudson. It does not appear like a long-term injury for him. It's day-to-day would be the best description, I think, for him. We'll see if we hear more on Emmett Mosley as well as Jonah Williams this week. But the Longhorns a little nicked up right now, Jerry, whether it's Cedric Baxter being out or just this accumulation of games with a lot of them being on the offensive side of the ball, especially at running back. It feels like it's exacerbated a problem with with the offense and getting their timing down, getting some explosiveness on the field, all of that. And I think that as I look at it, that's been one of the issues that are a compounding factor for a young quarterback like Arch Manning.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's maybe outside of just Arch's rough game Saturday, really rough game Saturday. The tough thing for me is we just haven't seen the guys play together.
Yes,
just to see what they could build. And we're talking about this, Bobby, yesterday is the issue for me is you started these games 2, 3, and 4 are supposed to be the building part for your offense, getting guys experience, extending leads in games against bad teams so your young guys get experience. Because guys are hurt and because Texas offense is sputtering so much, they're setting everything back. So now they're going into SEC play where they were supposed to be in games 3 and 4 to me. That's the issue on offense. Phil McIntosh asked, where is Nick Brooks? He's in witness protection program until we see him on the field. I don't know what that guy saw in Austin, but it must have been bad. He's in witness protection program until we actually see him on the field.
WITSEC. There you go. By the way, Trey Wisner's injury is a groin injury, and they're just being cautious. And it's okay. I mean, he would have played had it been a big game. My question is, at that point, we talk about Arch's confidence. He needs some older players around him to help, issue that in a little bit. I think the only one that is actually really, truly older than him that is a skill position player right now is Jack Endries, who's a newcomer to the offense. Only been in, remember, Jack Endries did not come in at midterm. He came in the summer. And you have Trey Wisner, who's a vocal leader for the team, and he's out. I think that there's more left on the bone there than maybe we realize as it relates to what's around Arch to help pull him up. But nothing is going to, the images of him missing badly do not change even within that context. So you need more from your quarterback and you need more from people all the way around him. But as we've mentioned, offense unusually nicked up, whereas the defense, Alex January, Kobe Black, Xavier Fields to me, that's more manageable amount of injuries at this point.
Yeah, the thing that Texas has gotten lucky so far, where a lot of teams have not. Although until Emmett Mosley actually plays in a game, it feels like a season-ending injury for a guy that was projected to be a starter. Texas hasn't had the season-ending injuries. Some other teams have had a few season-ending injuries. So we shall see on that. I think Texas is going – they're going to look good Saturday against Sam Houston State, because Sam Houston State's really bad on defense. Like, I think really bad. And can you gain confidence from that? You can gain a level of confidence from that, but is it going to matter when the competition level goes up time 10? And I don't care after Florida gets their beat down from Miami this weekend. I don't know what that team's going to have left, but they're going to give an effort against Texas because it's a back against the wall type of game for them. So even Florida that's going to be a really, now the Texas players may think, man, the Texas fan boos last weekend were nothing compared to what we're hearing in the swamp right now. But that Florida's still going to give an effort, and they have talent on that team. So that's going to be the question for me. I do think Texas can gain some confidence this weekend, but is it confidence that's actually going to matter when the stakes are really raised? We'll see. And then the question becomes, my biggest question right now, guys, is how much is Sark holding back that he's actually planning to do? Rod talked about it a lot with Ohio State with the offensive game plan. I think it's a lot, but it doesn't mean it's going to go smoothly, Bobby, if players don't have confidence.
Yeah, no confidence. Parker Livingston was wide open for a touchdown. He overshot him by 5 yards. I don't know what
throws
else
he made last year, Bobby, under duress.
Yes, throws he made last year. Look, we've got it. And Jerry, I want to challenge you on this. You said, they're going to look good on offense against Sam Houston State. How are you 100% positive on that?
Yeah, because I think Sam Houston State's so bad.
Okay. We thought they were going to look good against UTEP because UTEP was so bad.
Yeah.
Now, not on defense. They weren't bad on defense, right, I guess, but because they had a lot of sack numbers and stuff. But still, I'm just putting that out there. Don't count your chickens.
Yeah.
We hope and think they will.
It's on video. It will come back. People will bring it back on me if they don't, for sure. I just think Sam Houston's really bad on defense.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Well, I hope you're right. I want to say that.
But like I said, like we talked about yesterday, if Texas looks bad on offense against Sam Houston State, we should probably redo our prediction show.
Hey, bring that up with Juan Gomez. Bring that up real quick. You just had it up.
Chat's moving. Yeah, I know. Chat's moving too quick.
Yeah, that is so true. I noticed it as well, Juan. Arch had a smile on for the first time yesterday. I thought so too. Juan. We'll see if that means anything, though. Right? He is having to grow up. One of the things that Sark talked about yesterday was adversity, and Arch seeing a true adversity, maybe for the first time in his life, by the way. He'll be gauged by how he bounces back from it. And I agree with that. So
yeah.
I do believe that, my issue with this is real simple. A lot of quarterbacks never bounce back. And so Sark seems very positive that Arch will bounce back from this. So that gives me, and I will say this, Sark has had and shepherded quarterbacks who've had early season woes before. It's not his first rodeo. So I'm confident that they'll get there. My question is, when will he get there? And will it be in 2025, as we all had thought it would be? Or is it going to be, later this year, like much later than we predicted? Like games 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, as opposed to 2, 3, 4, and 5. Fair question.
Yeah.
Well, before we look at some, go ahead,
Yeah,
Jerry.
go ahead. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's ultimate adversity bounce back is what's in front of Arch.
Good.
All right, Bobby, before we move on to the next Sark topic, tell us about Austin Underground.
Yeah, absolutely. Since 2004, Austin Underground has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. Rick Vavro and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. Rick and his team also own TexasRoad.com. Make sure you check them out. If you have any large road projects, whether it's subdivision or otherwise, that is Austin Underground and Texas Road. Thank you, Rick, for your sponsorship of On Texas Football.
All right, so we've been talking growing pains and players being out.
Great show. That was a good show for those that are watching.
Growing pains.
Growing? Oh, you like growing pains?
I did watch it a little bit. That was my age time.
Address that, not the TV show. So let's listen to that.
I want us to be doing everything as consistently as possible, as quickly as possible. You know, I think a little, and you guys know me. I don't make excuses at all. Like, that is not what we do. But I think not having a couple of our veterans on offense consistently has affected kind of the flow of how we play. You know, you lose Trey Wisner, you lose DeAndre Moore, then you lose Cedric Baxter. You know, like, those guys are the ones that have played some football for us. You know, there's some new faces. I mean, Parker Livingstone, this is like his third game he just played. You know, Ryan understanding how to play now more snaps than he's ever played in his career. What does that feel like? Everybody at tight ends knew. Outside of DJ, everybody on the O-line essentially knew. The quarterbacks knew. So I'm not naive to think we wouldn't have some growing pains. I just want those growing pains I want to get tall as fast as we can and feel good and start playing. And that's the race that we're in, you know. And I'm comfortable in saying we're going to get there. I just want to get there sooner rather than later. I assume like everybody else, right? We want to see a well-oiled machine offensively, on special teams, on defense, playing our best football when our best is needed. And so we got to get there as quickly as possible.
A lot of what we just talked about, right?
Yep.
You know, how did those older guys being around affect the quarterback who's in his fifth start? You know, especially in a scenario where he's facing a defense is, you know, running three guys through a single gap, which is what happened on one play on the goal line, by the way. I mean, I don't know if you saw that or not, but I was like, I'd never seen that before in my life. They ran three guys through a single gap. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Growing pains ended up being a success, Jerry. Probably because you like John Stamos so much.
Who's that?
John Stamos. You like him, right?
I kind of remember, but I just remember the show a little bit. Yeah.
He's the guy with the long.
Yeah.
You don't remember the.
He was the Greek guy. Yeah, he's Greek. He's from Greece.
No. He's the one with the mullet.
Yeah.
I learned. Come on. Never mind. Moving on. No.
So what Sark said, look, I think there's.
Oh, Alan Thicke. I'm thinking Full House.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Olsen twins and all that stuff. I'm the one that's messed up.
Bobby, you had me confused.
I'm the one that's messed up, not you. That's like par for the course, by the way.
Yeah, let's get into more TV trivia. TV trivia night on Texas Football. So what Sark said is, look, I think he's searching a little bit for some things. Drop passes, missing guys in the flat by 3 feet. There's some elements of this that are outside of what he was talking about, and I think that's the frustrating thing for the fans. I think the fan base and all of us, I mean, the watch with us is a really tough. Come have fun in one of those if you never have. But I think that's the most difficult thing for everybody on this chat and everybody talking here is it's the easy plays that should be made that aren't being made. You understand if there's inexperienced players here and there that there's going to be some issues. There's going to be some missed assignments. Nobody's expecting perfection. The problem is when these simple plays aren't being made, whether that's a perimeter block, whether that's dropping a pass, whether that is running a not bad route, a terrible route, whether that is quarterback throwing the ball at the feet or 3 feet over the in the flat somebody's head. The simple plays aren't being made, and that just magnifies everything else. And the only way there will be big strides made for the Texas offense is if you can start by making the simple plays, the plays you're supposed to make. If you can't make those, I just don't see how much better you get. So that's the first step for me. You got to the easy throws have to be made. The catch has to be made. The block on the perimeter has to be held that split second longer. If you can't do those things, then where are you really going to go? We'll see.
All right, it looks like Coach Shipley's here to join us this morning. I'm going to bring him in. Bob, how we doing?
Hey, doing good. How y'all doing?
What did you think of what Jerry? I know you were listening in the background there, Coach. What did you think of Jerry? What Jerry said there? Got to do the simple things first.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. But I'm the more I think about it, the more I look at this thing. I'm really concerned about our offensive line. You know, I know that Sark and the staff are seeing things from Arch in practice that make them know that this is just this will pass because he does this. You know, he makes the throws and does everything every day. But I'm really concerned about you know, the offensive line. I mean, this is now you were playing a team that I think Pro Football Focus had rated them the number one tackling team, fewest tackles missed. You know, up to this point of the season. So it's you know, I think UTEP is not a bad team, certainly better than they've been in the past. But, you know, if you can't blow those guys off the line and get a yard or two, then how are we going to blow Georgia off the line? You know, how are we going to blow that? That's the thing that is the elephant in the room to me, is that these guys aren't road graders. I mean, when you're playing a team like UTEP and you have 1 yard to go and you can't just get a flat back, I mean, maybe once they slant into it or blitz over, you know, whatever. But it was, I just never saw us until we just, obviously, we were just going to hand the ball off and just grind it out, and they got tired, and we had some more success. But that and the wide receiver room are the two biggest questions that I have. Running backs are coming. I mean, you know, obviously Simon is you know, it's always nice because every year you'll see a guy that'll come through like that, you know, that you know, you don't really know a lot about, you weren't really sure. But that guy is going to be fun to watch this week. I think he's going to have a heck of a game. But again, and I think the offensive line will look better this week. You know, Sam Houston is I don't even think they're in the top 100 in any defensive category.
Yeah. No, they're bad. They're bad.
Somebody said, hey, Coach, somebody said they're having tryouts this week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've got to do better. I don't know if y'all heard, well, Bobby, you did. You were on the show with me and Coach John Irwin yesterday on lunch with Coach, but he said Coach said we have an SEC defense and a Southland Conference offense.
That's yeah. Brian literally he was really beat up a little bit about that, Coach, and I think that's true. I do believe that all of it compounds, and that's what you're kind of describing. If the offensive line can't get a push on 1st and goal from the 1, then that puts more pressure on the quarterback, and that puts more pressure on the receivers, and on down the line. Hopefully this all changes as we get going. I've got to ask you a question. You and I have talked about this before, and we've said, what is the possibility that Sark is holding something back here for
there's no doubt.
Okay.
We talked about that
you think
last
that's
night.
part of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Rod Babers and CJ and I talked about that last night in our live cast. I think there's certainly something to that. Now, that has nothing to do with Arch having the inaccuracy problems that he has. I really believe that Arch will get that figured out. I mean, he didn't just all of a sudden start doing this. It's a mental thing. He'll work through it. He'll grow through it. They see it in practice all the time. In fact, and anyway, I think Arch is going to be okay. I really do. I mean, he didn't ask for any of this stuff. He's just trying his best to live out his childhood dream, and we make it real hard on him as fans, because of the expectation that we built up for him, not that he's built up for himself. But yeah, I feel like that. I feel like that Arch is going to be fine. But I've wanted the same thing. How much is he holding back? I mean, the offense that we ran Saturday was so base vanilla.
Yes.
I mean, so I'm hoping that once we get to Florida, we're going to see all the things we've been working on in practice unleashed, maybe incrementally throughout the rest of the season. But he can't. There's no way Arch Manning is. He knows an awful lot of football. For somebody his age, I can't imagine anybody knowing more football than he knows. It's not like you're having to dumb down the offense for your quarterback to be successful. He's smart. He studies. He's a gym rat, all that stuff. But I think there's some merit to that. I think there's some merit to that.
To holding stuff back. Hey, Coach. I mean, and I know Jerry has some questions for you too, but I'm just thinking to myself. 26 of 31 last year against Mississippi State, 300+ yards. 26 of 31.
Making tough throws under duress on the money.
Right.
Looks like a totally different player.
That versus 26 of 31 versus Mississippi State versus 11 of 25 versus UTEP. How did we get from there to here? That's what has, I think, a lot of fans and myself I understand hills and valleys and peaks and all that stuff, but I didn't expect to go to 11 for 25 against UTEP.
No, I didn't either, and I don't think anybody did. Not even our opponents could have imagined that. But I do think there's some factors that play into that. I mean, last year he didn't have the pressure on him. He was coming off the bench. I mean, he knew he was going to be a 1-week starter, maybe 2-week starter. It wasn't like the pressure, the buildup, the Heisman favorite, and all this stuff. He had a lot better offensive line in front of him. He had a better group of receivers out on the field, and he was playing with the full playbook, and not a watered down version. And so I think all that compounded with the yips or whatever it is that he's having right now that I'm confident he's going to work through. Like I said, I'm really worried about this offensive line. I really am. I mean, they better be road graders this week, And one last thing on Arch, and you can see this evolve. I mean, when you just think about it, as he starts pressing more and more, he's going to not have faith in that pocket. And he's flushing out. He's getting happy feet too quickly and so I think all those things come together and kind of have made this into a storm that he's trying to get out of. And it's just one thing builds on top of another, and one thing leads to another. And the next thing you know, you really should be scooting up in the pocket, but you're being flushed out, running around, trying to make something happen because you're not comfortable with, the pressure coming around you and the time it's going to take for your receivers to break open. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts. And I'm just trying to be a realist here. And I tell you what, CJ Vogel's a bad influence on me because I wasn't thinking that bad about our offensive line until CJ started pointing out some things. And I went back and watched the film, and I'm like, oh gosh, yeah. Man, yeah, we're not moving people off the ball. And this is UTEP. And granted, again, UTEP's a better ball club than a lot of people give them credit for. I think they do the best. They make the most out of what they have.
Yeah, that's a good young coach. Hey, Coach, I got a question for you. And I know it's going to be much different because it's not quarterback or an offensive lineman at the University of Texas or receiver under that in that fishbowl of college athletics, especially Arch. Did you ever have player that totally lost their confidence? And how did you deal with that as a coach?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, I have. Thankfully, it wasn't, it wasn't, a play that was a player that was anything like a big time recruit or anything like that. But yes, it happens. And I think, I don't think I think it's very much common sense approach. Let's forget about yesterday. Let's forget about last week. Forget about last year. Let's work on today. Okay, this is the first script of plays we're going to run today. Let's focus on this play. You just block all that other stuff out and just start taking it one rep at a time. Make this rep the very best. All the things going through your mind before this rep, you're going through the line of scrimmage, you're reading the defense. You see safeties rolling. You do all your mind is 100% focused on this play. And I think you almost have to break it down like that to make yourself go through all the things that should be second nature to you, but somehow they've gotten off whack. And that keeps those other thoughts out of your mind. You just stay so focused with what you're doing on this one play that you don't have time for doubt or anything else to come in, because you're so dialed in and focused on this one play, on this practice play rep. And then you just keep repeating that. That's the only way I've known how to deal with it, and I don't think you act like it's not there, because it's there. You just got to keep pumping things into your guy's head. Just go be a dog. Rod was talking last night on our live cast about, where's the Arch who made the grimace face at A&M, who pitched the ball out to Golden or whoever. I don't remember who it was. And he dove across the goal line and scored, and, just that swagger, it's just, and probably the last thing I would say, Jerry, to that is, gosh, don't make it bigger than it is. Have fun. There's nobody it doesn't look like to me there's anybody on offense having fun. No. Simon was having some fun. He was probably having any fun. But just, I think that, I don't know, it's like Arch maybe feels like he doesn't deserve to have that swagger and that confidence now, because he hasn't really played to that level of expectation. And so he's not going to be, the Mannings are not showboats. They're not look at me type people. They're all about the proofs in the pudding, And when you get to that level, you can start talking some smack and you can start showing a little bit of swagger. But I think right now, Arch is not feeling the swagger and he's not having fun. And until he gets through this and breaks through this, I'm hoping that we're going to see him just really blossom into the player that we all hope he's going to be and thought he was.
Yeah, I hope so too. Coach, both your kids returned punts at Texas, Jordan and Jackson. At early in the year, you thought, hey, we got some issues at punt returner. You kind of changed your tune after what you've seen from Ryan Niblett the last 2 weeks. So as we're looking at on the bright spots of areas that are improving on the team, in our Lunch with the Coach episode yesterday, you mentioned Ryan Niblett specifically and where you see him. You're kind of uniquely situated to discuss that because you had two kids that did it really well. What were your thoughts on Ryan Niblett?
Well, I think first of all, he's learning. All right. And the guy, his first collegiate punt return, first game he's playing back there, he lets a ball hit the ground and roll back and we lose, a lot of yards, so he's coachable, he's learning. But I tell you what, he has better vision and better quickness than I thought he had. I just for some reason couldn't wrap my mind around the fact that, that he's not an Xavier Worthy. That's the kind of guy I want back there.
Right.
I want to.
Well, everybody wants that, right? I mean, everybody.
Yeah. And so we're a little bit spoiled when it comes to our punt returners over the last 2 or 3 years. But I just feel like that there's more of a sense of urgency with our guys. We're not, and we can still get better. We're obviously after that punt block, attempt that we roughed the punter, we've just been holding up. We don't set up a wall or anything. We just try to hold them up the best we can and let a guy make a play. That's what it looks like to me. And we can certainly improve in that. And and I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but there was a great punt return he had where we had 2 obvious blocks in the back that weren't called.
Yeah.
And then I think we had 2 more that were called on kick returns. So we've got to clean that up. But man, I mean, he and Simon were the bright spot for me on Saturday, because I didn't know we had either one of those guys were capable of doing what they did. And so I think that's just going to give our special teams more confidence. Hey, I'm going to hustle my tail down the field because this guy can make something happen, you know. And so anyway, I'm excited about that. I think I think Shipley's done a good job with field goals for what he's been, the opportunities he's been given. He needs to be given more opportunities, in my opinion, because we want points, not a deflated offense and the defense having to go back on the field. But special teams are looking better, and that's a good sign.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you joining.
Bobby muted himself.
I was trying to say thank you, Coach, for joining us. My apologies. Coach, by the way, growing pains or full house for you?
Man.
He's going to say done. He was coaching. He wasn't my age.
Yeah, no. I would say Rat Patrol.
Oh.
Back from the 60s. I wasn't watching those little kidsy shows, Growing Pains, and I was somewhere exasperating, I guess, or whatever you call it. But that's a word I thought I would never say on a broadcast. What was
exacerbated?
Yeah, that's a word I don't want to touch.
I just came up with a new on Texas football show, Rat Tail Patrol at the Cotton Bowl for Texas fans.
Let's go.
You in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Rat Tail Patrol.
Yeah. Okay,
right,
guys,
Coach,
y'all have a
thank
good
you.
show. Thanks.
Okay, man. Take care of yourself. Good stuff.
Step by Step has been brought up by Phil McIntosh in the chat.
Step by step.
Home improvement, Starsky and Hutch.
Oh. What was the one with
No boy. No boy.
Here we go.
Dukes of Hazzard? There we go.
Yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh man. All right. Before we move on, fellas, I need Jerry to tell us this morning about one of our sponsors, and that is Ridge. My mind went blank for a second.
No. It's good. It's good. Everybody needs everybody needs a Ridge wallet right now, because it feels like your money's getting taken from you a little bit with the offense. Hey, with other 50 colors and styles, Ridge wallet isn't just functional; it's personal. Whether you want a sleek black forged carbon fiber, a wallet that features your favorite NFL team, shout out Texans fans, or one that just matches your vibe, they've got you covered. Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and rings, all built with the same sleek, durable design. No matter what you pick, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day free risk trial, and a lifetime warranty on all products. Ready to upgrade your wallet and maybe your ride? For a limited time only, head to ridge.com and use the code ONTEXAS, all caps, at checkout for 10% off your order and a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever, including a Lamborghini or $100,000 in cash. No purchase necessary to enter, but every dollar you spend gets you more entries. That's ridge.com and use code ONTEXAS, all caps. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Just say On Texas Football, the team that talks about great offense.
And Bobby, let us know about Mint Mobile this morning.
Mint Mobile is the place that you go if you have needs for a new mobile plan that is cheaper and more cheaper is not the right word, more affordable. How about that? What doesn't belong in your summer plans is getting burned by your old wireless plan while you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends for Texas football games. Your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. That's why you can make the switch to Mint Mobile. It's the wireless plan I sent my son off to college with. With Mint, you can get the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for just $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling literally and financially. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get this new customer offer and your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/on-Texas. That's mintmobile.com/on-Texas. Upfront payment of $45 is required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right, guys. Let's jump
Man,
over.
somebody brought up all the TV shows are taking me back Wonder Years. I mean, wow.
See,
This turned into an awesome show.
Somebody asked me, my show growing up was Happy Days. That was like the one that and Three's Company.
I love Three's Company. Still watch it when it pops on.
I 100% believe that.
The dumb comedy is still the best comedy to me. I mean, Cheers was my all-time favorite show. Like, it's not even close. Like Cheers, like all time, not even close.
You could be Woody Harrelson in another life on that show.
Is it any wonder why I do Joy Mode
You could
reads?
also be Ted Danson on that show.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Super chats that have nothing to do with TV shows, but we're going to jump over to those. This one from Tyler. He says, I don't know if this has been discussed or not, but should Art see a sports psychologist to help his mental issues in a game?
Well, Bobby said yesterday that the family what the family decides and what they decide Art will help Arch is what matters. Rod and I kind of talked about this subject Sunday night a little bit because pro golfers are legendary for this. And every single one of them at some point has, which tells you how difficult that sport is over time, the ups and downs and everything's on you. Texas has a great sports psychologist for a quarterback. A guy that played with great joy. Just go have TJ Ford hang out with Arch for a little while. TJ Ford still carries the same smile today he did when he played the game. And he had such joy and so much fun playing the sport he loved. You don't need to hire one. Just have TJ and Arch go have lunch, dinner. That's my take. Get the joy back. TJ will help you get your joy back for the sport you love.
Get the accuracy back while you're at it. I mean, 26 of 31 compared to 11 of 25 is.
So there's a post on Texas Football, Bobby, that broke down all of Arch's kind of the game, Mississippi State and ULM. And we talked about that. We talked about that here yesterday. How and I know everybody in the chat says, well, the players are the same, the team's not. Take away all that and just look at accuracy of throwing a football.
Yeah.
And confidence in what you were doing on a field.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with the people around you because it's not like players aren't open. It's not like Ryan Wingo wasn't open on the wheel route in the red zone. That's a touchdown if it's a well-thrown ball, a walk-in touchdown. So Parker on the 4th and 3 in the red zone, right? So it's not like the plays aren't there to be made on some level too. It's just a stark difference, and you hope he gets it back.
Our next question also has to do with quarterback. The super chat from Lee. Thank you, Lee. Would a 2-quarterback rotation help minimize the pressure or expectation on Arch and make a package for the second QB?
Lee, I don't know. It could. I don't know that we're there yet. I would say could a 2 QB right now. I think that Sark's answer is to try to work through it with more reps in game. That's his current answer. Does that answer change if we see more stumbles, particularly a stumble against Florida? Then things might change. But I do believe that Sark, based on his response yesterday in the presser, his response is, I believe in Arch. He's going through a difficult time. This adversity will ultimately help him become a better quarterback. And so while you and others might have ideas, I think Sark's pretty straightforward about it. We're going with Arch. So, and we're going to let him work through this.
All right, and then we have a super chat from Brian Hudson for you, Bobby. Brian says, Bobby, what is it that Neto is missing that Stroh is doing better? I just can't believe we don't have a better left guard option. Stroh just is not athletic enough, says Brian.
I think that Stroh does lack some athleticism. There's no two ways about it. But I think he's obviously been tabbed by the Texas offensive line coach to start at left guard. I don't know all of the ins and outs of that, but I mean, look, how many penalties has Stroh had this year? 0 to my knowledge. So at 1 at most, no false start, or maybe 1 false start. So look, I think that there's that piece of it. There's knowing the offense, being reliable, but I don't know what the difference. I can't get inside somebody's head. I do think it's interesting how Stroh and or Nato, Hudson and DJ Campbell, we hoped would be the interior strength and move folks this year. And they just haven't done that, whether that's by a new run design or how people are deploying people against Steve Sarkisian's rather basic offense at this time. I don't know. But I wish I had all the answers there. The answer is I don't, Brian. I don't have them all.
And then we have a couple of super chats from Jeff Carey this morning. We'll start with this first one here that says, on a positive note, the special teams continue to improve. We may need to win a couple of games with our special teams.
I think that Sark mentioned this yesterday, and we talked about Niblet already in this video. I think that in podcast, I think that my take on it for everybody is that Jack Bouwmeester also had a nice comeback after an off game at San Jose State. Look, the 2 penalties on Saturday for Texas were both by 1 player, and that player was replaced in the third quarter, I believe, going forward. So we'll see if that carries forward. But it's pretty obvious that if 1 player is causing a number of penalties in the return game, that could be a problem. Maybe that's been fixed now, and there's more light at the end of the tunnel, because I do think they have the personnel. I don't know that, even though you like Ryan Niblet, I don't know that he's necessarily a game breaker. Like Bob was right. I mean, you get really excited about a guy like Xavier Worthy having the ball in his hands. But, Xavier Worthy is a different cat than just about anybody you're going to put back there. So is Silas Bolden to that part. So I do think you can win games maybe with field position with Jack Bouwmeester more than you are going to win with returns or blocks. That's just my opinion.
Zane Petty, real quick. GH is more like Norm. If I walked into Cheers right now and Coach said, Jerry, what would you say to a beer? I'd say send 5 of your friends in a bye week.
Well, while you're answering TV-related questions.
No. Let's not go there with Super Chat, please.
That's easy to answer both. All right.
I knew Jerry would have something good up his sleeve. All right, Jerry.
Don't make me decide.
Let's talk recruiting.
Yeah, so Braylon Jones, the linebacker out of Cherry Creek, Denver high school, that's put out a number of really talented players that kind of those guys move to that are really good high school football players in the Denver area. Braylon is told, we broke the news last week. He was offered Wednesday that he was already lining up an unofficial visit and a official visit. He told us last night that he will be unofficially visiting this weekend, and he has an official visit in November. So big news here, linebacker 2026 out of Cherry Creek, the first senior offer of this 2026 class that is going to be on campus. Really good player here, 6'3", 215 pounds. Michigan also offered him. He's a Michigan State commit. that plans to visit Texas twice. Michigan's going to get him on campus as well. But that long arm kid that can really run, that has good range. Bobby, last year it was Kellen Wiley Texas offered senior year. That ended up picking Miami over Texas on signing day. By the way, he's played a little bit for Miami this year. That guy's got a chance to be really good. I saw him. But yeah, I like the length here. I like the length of Hodge. And I think I like where his frame can go as a player. I think Michigan State made a really good early eval here. And now some really good senior tape. Games 1 through 4 for him as a senior has earned him offers from Texas and Michigan. And Michigan State has their work cut out for him to keep him from eventually flipping to a Texas or Michigan. But he'll be on campus this weekend. We have a listed on texasfootball.com right now. Brian Swanson, who I think is a stud 2027 offensive lineman from South Oak Cliff. He's scheduled to come in. One of KV and Brian's family members told me they're likely to come in this weekend. Yeah, CJ reported yesterday Eli Johnson, the 27 stud safety out of Cibolo Steel, is scheduled to be in. There's going to be a lot of 27 kids. There's going to be a lot of committed kids. Obviously, Braylon Hodge is a flip candidate, will be in for his first ever visit to Texas. And then we'll see if any other guys committed elsewhere show up. I'm not sure Hodge will be the only one. We'll see what happens the rest of this week.
While we're talking about recruiting on this, I wanted to mention this. I forgot. I've been so busy with the game and discussing other aspects of it. On Friday night this past week, Jerry, I went and watched Yahed Riley and Austin Anderson on Friday night. Me and producer Matt went over there, and they were playing College Station High. College Station, by the way, has 3 really juniors that are pretty good players that are going to be recruitable athletes. But Yahed Riley was a good player. Played a little bit of both. Played both ways for Austin Anderson. Also returned kicks for Austin Anderson. He's kind of a do-everything guy. I like the size. I like the speed. I like the physicality that he played with. And of course, we're talking about a young man that's committed to the University of Texas, was originally committed to University of Houston before Dwayne Akina kind of put him in his sights and had a workout with him. So Yahed Riley, I liked what I saw from him, Jerry, and everybody else out there. I could eventually see him being a starter at the University of Texas. He's that level of player and that level of athlete. Not that should surprise anybody. Just telling you, I went and saw him on Friday night.
I think Samari Matthews is having a big season over at Huff High in Cornelius, North Carolina. Obviously, we talked about Diabell being out for the season. Derek Cooper's OV is back, which is interesting. He's backed up to the Texas bye week, the weekend of September 27th, 28th. Which was interesting to me because I was down there last week, and I'm not saying anything alarming here, but it was just interesting because Chaminade Madonna got it out for you guys once in the chat today. Their bye week is this week, so it made so much sense to come in this week with the family, but he is coming back. He is actually going to make his official visit the 26th through 28th weekend. I still think there's a chance, again, that some committed guys from out of state are in town this weekend. One of the ones I'm watching is Corey Wells, because Auburn, Ole Miss really making strong pushes for the defensive lineman out of Petal. Obviously, his brother's committed to South Alabama for now, air quotes for the podcast for now. Auburn would take him. Can Texas, and I know they've been working at it, will Corey Wells be on campus this weekend? That would be a big one, I think, because Texas is fighting to keep him in the class. And I think he's a really good player. And Texas is on the right guys when you have a defensive lineman from SEC country and guys are trying to flip him. That Auburn is really trying to flip him. Obviously, Ole Miss will be on him. But I think Corey Wells is a really good player.
Before we get to some more questions, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about Vaughn Lane this morning.
Yeah, this fall, the biggest games and events are calling, and Vaughn Lane is the best way to get there. I talk to people all the time that are using Vaughn Lane as a new way to get to Austin for games. Skip the airport stress. Forget the long, exhausting drive. Instead, step aboard a Vaughn Lane motor coach where every seat is first class. I've literally not talked to anybody that doesn't have a good time on Vaughn Lane. Just 22 oversized leather seats with 140-degree recline, leg rest, and personal space you won't find anywhere else. Your onboard attendant serves complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, full meals. Arrive refreshed and ready for kickoff, the concert, or the race. Booking is now open through November. Lock in your seat for Texas OU in Dallas in October. F1 and ACL in Austin are big football weekends. In Nashville, Houston, Dallas, and Fort Worth, Vaughn Lane connects Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Nashville, Atlanta, Memphis, and new routes including Knoxville and the Woodlands, as well as Plano. Reserve your ride today at VonLane.com. Use promo code OTF25 to save $20 on your first trip. Vaughn Lane, private jet on wheels. I really appreciate their sponsorship of On Texas Football, and it really is a great way to go between cities in the state of Texas.
And I'm going to tell everyone about Prize Picks this morning. We make decisions daily, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And with football season now here, it's time to make that money. It's simple to play. You're just going to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in, win up to 2,000 times your money. And, of course, it's the best way to get in on sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Georgia, Florida, and right here in the great Lone Star State. Now then, they haven't released the new college football picks for this week yet, so I'm keeping an eye on that. Those should come out later today, but just remember, they have everything: college football, NBA, MLB, WNBA, anything and everything that you could possibly want, even esports. So check them out. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTEXAS. You're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Remember, it only takes less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money. That's code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Prize Picks. Run your game.
David Rawls with another favorite of mine, Magnum PI. By the way, for the Magnum PI people that haven't watched it, John Hillerman on that show is a Texas grad. Obviously passed away in 2017. John Hillerman was a Texas grad who, after his days, and I actually saw him I think he was living in the Woodlands. It was just by chance that moved back to the Houston area after he was done with his acting career. And I think he lived in the Woodlands for a lot of his post-acting life. Great show.
I'm waiting for you to talk about talk about Knight Rider next.
Knight Rider's come up. Marcus Byers just brought Knight Rider's a cool show. I've never talked to a car before, but it was a cool show. Anything I've said to a car had a lot of 4-letter bombs in it. The only talking to a car I've ever done was muted.
John W. here with the super chat. John says, OTF gives us the best possible insider information, so thank you all for that. And Jerry doesn't lie. Injuries and inexperience is the main issue.
I think confidence has to be put in that category of main issue with the quarterback. I really do. Now, maybe he turns it around, but and Jerry doesn't lie. Doesn't lie. But I will add this for you guys, and we talked about injuries earlier. I think that's a big piece of it. Sark mentioned it. There's just so many things that go into making an offense work on rhythm and in time, and we haven't seen that at all this year, it feels like. And I don't know why. Could it be just simply the quarterback? Maybe, but I don't think it is. I think it's a multitude of things. And so that makes you look for answers, whether it's at left guard and people are crying out about that, or play James Simon more, or play the young receivers more. Everybody's searching for these answers. They're not, the truth is the problems are more nuanced than a lot of people want to admit. There's no simple, easy fixes to this. And that is one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, there's some fundamental dysfunction going on right now. I mean, it could also be coaching and play calling. And I'm not putting this solely on players. I want to be clear about that. I mean, I think that's important too.
By the way, yes, I 100% agree. Ski Breck brings up something. Bobby, you got to look at Hunter Yurichek's comments.
What did he say?
Ski Break, I just want to bring up his comment. Hunter Yurachek, wow. Hunter Yurachek at Arkansas AD is brutally honest, said his football program is not set up to be a national contender, period. It was pretty interesting. People need to go back and
does he mean that from an NIL perspective? Is that the we'll talk about it maybe tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
But I'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll find out, read into it.
I was trying to add it, but it's taking too long. All right. Let's see here. We got a pair of super chats from Bald Father Betts. What's the first game we can't win with the defense? OU?
Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I know DJ Lagway threw 5 picks last week at LSU. I do think LSU's got a really good defense. They're so improved. Their secondary has actually got some. Monsieur Delane from Virginia Texas stud, and the freshman DJ Pickett's going to be a first-round pick probably. But at Florida. I mean, it's at Florida unless Florida's just – we'll see what Florida looks like health-wise coming out of Miami, because that's going to be 2 physical beatdowns in a row. 3 counting South Florida, because that was a physical game. But still at Florida, it's still a road game in the SEC. I mean, if any semblance of Saturday's offense shows up on a road game in the SEC, you can lose that game.
If you think scoring 27 against UTEP equals scoring 13 against Florida, that's a losable game very easily.
Yeah.
And then Bald Father Betts with his other super chat says, remember, Bobby, you said OU would be Arch's breakthrough game this preseason during record predictions. Maybe it's all going according to plan.
Bobby's looking good on that, but he didn't want to.
Yeah, that's probably the truth, isn't it? Like, I didn't want to be right. I about those preseason predictions, and I think this is what I've tried to articulate to folks, is I feel like even I didn't expect the valley to be so low.
Right.
I did pick Texas to lose at Ohio State. That's not that big a deal. I mean, it's a pick 'em game.
Right.
You know, I didn't think Texas would beat UTEP, 27-10 or whatever. Right? I feel like that aspect of my perception of this team has been tested more than I thought, Bald Father. And therefore, it may be still to this day his breakthrough game. And I do think it's within him. That's the other. I mean, look, I just told you, he went 26 of 31 versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State that was not very good last year. They had more players on defense that will play in the NFL than UTEP ever thought of having last year, though. And so it's there. It needs to go out onto the field, and that's one of the things that's frustrating, I think, for someone like myself that knows and has seen it be there. It needs to show on a Saturday, not just on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so
and he made throws in that game where he's getting hit down the field, vertical throws under duress. It was accurate throws, changing ball speeds. There was so much there that it's total 180 from Saturday, especially, that it's all mental. It's not a talent thing. It's not an ability thing. It's not can you do it thing. But ultimately, sports comes down to, do you perform or not? That's ultimately what it comes down to. Do you perform or not? And I think the tough thing is, no matter what the circumstance of that was last year, you've seen the guy perform. That's the hard thing. So hopefully it'd be a cool script to flip. I'll tell you that. It'd be really cool. It'd be great for this chat.
Yes.
We're out of TV shows. We have nowhere else to go. Next week it's going to be favorite 80s songs in groups. Bring your yacht rock favorites to the off week.
Yacht rock.
Week.
Bobby, I know you got to leave here in just a moment, but before you do, can you let everyone know about Austin Underground one last time?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to dip out a little earlier today. Got a doctor's appointment. Since 2004, Austin Underground has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. Rick Vavro, and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground.
Thank you.
Mike, I'm gonna hit it. I gotta go. Y'all, please continue the conversation about Texas football and not Fonzie and the rest. So,
hey, we'll try.
bye-bye.
80s music week next week. 80s and 90s songs.
Okay, let's see here. We have a couple more super chats, Jerry. And I bet you can't guess what they're about, but they're about Arch Manning. So we're going to keep going there. Roy Hinosa says, when your quarterback is hanging his head down after every series and looks upset all the time, that attitude is infectious and it spreads everywhere.
Yeah, in sports. In team sports. I agree. And I think that's the toughest thing. And it's why quarterback is the most difficult position in pro sports. And I consider golf a sport outside of being a pro golfer. It's the most difficult thing in pro sports, and it is the most favorite sport in America. I 100% agree with that. It's because that's part of, and that's the toughest thing about leadership at a quarterback position when things are not going well, is it's magnified so much from a media standpoint and everything you do standpoint, even before a game's played or after a game's played, in your locker room, in your team, in your huddle, that I do think it can have a effect on confidence as a team. There's no question about it. It's just like the other thing that's the same is if a head coach is, and I'm not saying Sark is, but if a head coach is that way, that if a head coach has similar actions or the way they act, that affects a team the same way. There's really two things or positions within a team structure in football that can really affect that, and it's the quarterback and the head coach. But in this case, we're talking about Arch, and I do think that's really tough on a team, is when your leader and your quarterback is having a tough go of it. I do think that bleeds over to the confidence of a team. I don't think there's any way around it, and I think it's that way in sports.
And then we got one from Tyler. He says, is it time to take a look at A.J. Milwee? Maybe he's not a great quarterback developer like we were led to believe.
Let's see where it goes. Let's see where this goes. I mean, to me, though, A.J. Milwee didn't come to Texas with that resume necessarily, right? That he wasn't the one that came to Texas with the resume. And a lot of times I think the quarterback whisper, I'll be honest, I've been on record about this for years. I think the whole quarterback whisper, the resume of this, a lot of that's kind of BS to me, because look, it's like, and I'm not downgrading the Elite 11, but it's like an Elite 11. Well, we bring in look of all the quarterbacks that have been through Elite 11. Well, yeah, you go around the country every year and you pick out 15 of the best or 25 of the best 200 quarterbacks in America. I mean, yes, guys are going to be pros that come through there. If you're a coach and you're at these power programs, you're going to recruit really good quarterbacks. And if you pick the right guy and you're at the blue blood schools, a lot of those guys are going to be in the NFL draft. And so, I'm not taking shots at anybody that has the quarterback whisperer moniker. I've just always thought it's a little bit of BS, because, if you have the pick of the litter in recruiting at a quarterback position at some of these schools, at least one out of every three you take, unless you're Texas for 15 years, should be a pro. It's just, I don't know. So I think some of it's BS-y, honestly. And I know that's not going to be popular.
Let's close with this one, Jerry, from the Hustle and Beyond. He says, I know this is not a popular comment, but do you believe that Texas has played the last 2 weeks down to the level of their competition? Although not pretty, Texas dominated statistically versus Ohio State.
I definitely think there's an element of that because the one thing I believe about, and I think Bobby Bowden was the one that said this. I can't remember, and I won't remember the quote exactly, but about being emotionally able to get up. It's human nature. You're not emotionally going to be able to get up for, but maybe 3-4 opponents a year, and I'm talking regular season, right? That's why Kentucky's always been a threat on the road to really good teams because, it's no disrespect to Kentucky, but Georgia's sitting there, players are looking at their schedule, and if they have a big game, like Texas has Florida and Oklahoma before Kentucky, do you really think Texas emotionally is going to come to the Kentucky game with the same thing they came to the Oklahoma game with? The answer is no. It's human nature. It's like not possible. I don't expect, as a guy who played sports, I don't expect every guy to be emotionally up for every game. I just don't, it's human nature. I don't think it works that way. So I do think there's an element of it and I factor that in, but again, it's the easy plays. It's the simple plays that you make against anybody. That's, to me, is the struggle for right now with what I see on the offensive side for Texas. It's the easy, simple plays. Those don't have anything to do with human emotion. But they do have to, it can get to that with confidence. But I don't expect Texas to be emotionally for 3 G5 teams in a row. I don't have that unrealistic expectation because it's just not going to happen. But the struggles of the easy plays, I think, are different.
And let's do one more here. We'll end with recruiting from Antoine. He says Peyton Houston to LSU. Let's turn it up on Kavion Bryant.
Well, Texas is turning up on Kavion Bryant. We'll see if he comes in again this weekend. I think he was at Tech last weekend. He was at Texas earlier this season. The question there with any 2027 quarterback recruit for Texas is, what does that room look like to them in their circle? Meaning you have KJ Lacey, who's probably going to redshirt. You have Diabell, who's the number 1, 2, or 3 quarterback in the country ranked coming in. So what does that look like in 27 to a quarterback? Because what I can tell you what the teams that are competing are going to say, you can get on the field here earlier. And they're not going to say it about Tech. They don't negative recruit that way about another program. Guys are smarter than that nowadays. But what they are going to say is, we think you have an opportunity to get on the field early here. We don't think this is going to be a 2 or 3 year sit and develop process. And I do think with some 27 quarterbacks, that's going to ring true. And it does present an issue, a little bit of an issue for Texas in 27 quarterback recruiting. And I think that's why Texas hasn't been in a hurry to try to get somebody in the boat in 27 in a weird way, because I think they know this. They know kind of what they're dealing with. But Kavion Bryant is the guy Texas is turning the heat up on, and they have been since they offered him. The question is, what will Kavion Bryant and his circle do ultimately? Where do they think is the best spot for their kid? And I think NIL obviously can factor into that. Let's not be naive. If somebody comes with a great NIL deal, that can be impactful and should be impactful. But does he want to, on the surface, wait 2 years to develop? Not every kid does.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by Rick Vavro and Austin Underground. We want to thank them, along with Prize Picks, Mint, Mobile, Ridge, and Von Lane, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. Don't forget to head on over to ontexasfootball.com. Use promo code OTFOG when you sign up. You can get a full year for just $39.95. New subscribers only. OTFOG is the promo code. And after you do that, you might as well head on over to the On Texas Football store. Get you a cap like Jerry's wearing today. Shop.ontexasfootball.com or use the QR code on the screen. Again, shop.ontexasfootball.com. Jerry, do you happen? I know I normally ask Bobby, but do you know what y'all have later today?
Oh, yeah. Recruiting breakdown coming up later today. Bobby and I touch on a couple of things on this one, but we have the interview with Derek Cooper and the head coach Damian Jones of Chaminade Madonna. Got in twice after my stop, 3 times after my stop at Chaminade Madonna last week. That'll be a big part of the recruiting breakdown. We have a number of shows coming up later. Live stream tonight. Amanda Atwell, CJ, and Jeff got you on the live stream tonight. Bring your 80s TV shows to them, and nobody will know an answer. That's what I do know about that threesome. Maybe Jeff, but
Yeah, I think
CJ
Jeff
and Amanda, I think you're too young for the 80s and 90s TV talk.
Well, we hope you have a phenomenal and outstanding day today. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow morning. It'll be Hump Day with Hills tomorrow, so be sure to tune in for that. And for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.